Hello and welcome to Actors Theater's 29th season. My name is Kyle Dukevich and I'm the Managing Director here at Actors Theater. As your imagination takes hold this season, we promise to once again bring you the best in entertaining, innovative, challenging, and thought-provoking theater. We believe in the inclusion of all and are proud of the name that others have given us, the Off-Broadway of Grand Rapids. Now please enjoy these clips from our previous seasons.
Rhoda, how bad is it?
We still don't know. They have to take a picture.
An MRI.
Mr. Claustrophobia grows up. I need a new brain.
He needs a new brain.
That's not a crime.
Listen around here.
And I need a new body. Well, that'll take time. When you think you're dying, well, you ain't. All she needs another coat of paint. Don't give in. Fix this and fix that, and you'll surmise. No more alibis. What you did not win.
Whenever my parents came to visit, I always had to hide anything that would give it away, such as books or magazines or posters or whatever. Well, my dad was just browsing the books on that shelf, and I didn't even remember that I had completely forgotten to take down a book with a bright pink binding called Coming Out to Parents.
She started crying, and I just sat there like, this isn't the reaction I wanted, I needed. I felt like I was telling my family I needed help. I need help to get over this, to get through this, to understand that this isn't who I am and this isn't what God wants for me and I need help with it.
Okay, I'm the DA, you're you. Did you shoot Reverend Kim?
No.
Look me in the eye when you say it. Did you shoot him?
No.
You're lying.
Well, what do you want me to say, yes?
I want you to believe what you're saying.
But it ain't true.
Make it true. Did you shoot him?
No.
Ow! Stupid piece of crap! Oh, hello, darling. This is your mother speaking. You're in my belly right now, and sometimes you kick me. Isn't that precious?
Four manticores swoop down from the ceiling and they begin attacking.
No! I attacked
They get the initiative because they surprised you.
Now we join our directors for this season, Fred Cebulski, Stephanie Sandberg, Michelle Urbane, and Tom Cackley at the Cambridge House in downtown Grand Rapids as they discuss the season ahead.
I wanted to start by just talking about the season as a whole, and this seems to be a sort of return to the roots of Actors Theater in that we've chosen, I think, 5 plays that really focus on the actor totally. And we've done that throughout. It isn't like, but this year really that's where the focus is. The first show is the show that I'm currently working on because we're filming just a few weeks before that show opens. And this is a play that I have wanted to do for so long, Top Dog, Underdog. It's an absolutely gorgeous piece of theater. Susan Laurie Parks, the first African-American woman to win the Pulitzer Prize for this play. And we are having the time of our lives in the rehearsal hall. It's a play about 2 brothers who are named Lincoln and Booth, which begins the insanity. The father named them that as a joke, we are told, and what it has set up is sort of a Cain-Abel tension, which they both wrestle with and resolve and then re-wrestle with as one or the other tries to exert himself and be the top dog or the underdog. It's language. I mean, your point, Tom. It's a play that relishes the spoken word, and it should be noted from people that have not heard of it that it's a spoken word that is tough and gritty and urban, and we have pulled no punches and have removed no words. She has taken the language that is used in the street and she's raised it, I think, to a level. I mean, I said the other night to the actors, this is what Shakespeare did with language. He took the language that he heard and then raised it and used it, created poetry out of this this hard-hitting prose. When I read it, I remember just thinking the words jumped off the page at me. I mean, I found myself laughing at just the way in which words get juxtaposed, and the way in which they take vulgarities and string them together so that suddenly it just soars like poetry. I mean, that's how these two characters, who are both street hustlers, and one is a master of the three-card Monte, and the other one aspires to be, and in the meantime makes a living, if you can call that what he does, by just simply stealing things.
Now that's a skill that the actor actually has to have, right?
The three-card Monte skill, yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, yeah, and they're wrestling with it as we speak. So that opens the season, and I think it opens the season in a way that Actors Theatre has tried to often open their seasons with pieces that are really strong. How can you not want to take two actors and put them on a stage with a play written that won the Pulitzer Prize, and so they're here to do that. And then something completely different, but not entirely, because it's still something focused on the actor. Our second show.
Yes, it's Frozen by Bryony Lavery. She's a British playwright, and this play premiered in London back in 2002. And then opened on Broadway. And it's a play, it's just 3 actors, 2 women and 1 man, and it's really about the nature of forgiveness and remorse. But it's about a serial killer who has committed a number of crimes, a number of abominable crimes, and then his story, really, of his interaction with a criminal psychiatrist, and then also with the mother of one of the victims. So the play really deals with how each of these people navigate the incredibly, I guess you could call it icy territory of mental illness, because the serial killer is mentally ill, severely mentally ill. And so the play asks the question, what's the difference between a crime of illness and just a crime, you know? What's our responsibility? What's the victim's responsibility? What's the doctor's responsibility? What's the patient's responsibility in that case? And each person has to face that idea. And I think that's something that we constantly deal with now. It's very controversial. Like, how do we deal with the mentally insane? Yeah. How do we deal with people? And there's also, like, the play is tinged with moments of really brilliant linguistic humor and strange character traits. The people just crackle with a sense of reality. You do find yourself having to question your own beliefs as you begin to empathize with characters on these different levels, areas you've never empathized with before. And also, the story is really good. I mean, I don't want to give away the plot, but the way she's crafted the plot is fascinating. It's tinged with these amazing surprises, and you're like, wow. But not surprises that are, that are unfitting, I guess you could say. But just, she's woven the plot together really beautifully.
And it's just 3 characters?
Just 3 actors, and she uses the metaphor of being frozen. She uses the metaphor of Antarctica to kind of explore how each of these characters are isolated and stuck in their own, worlds.
That's Frozen. And then we move to something completely different. As if that wasn't a difference from 1 to 2.
And scene.
And we welcome a new director to the Actors Theatre Roundtable. Michelle Urbane, you're directing Mr. Marmalade.
I'm directing Mr. Marmalade.
By Noah Heidel.
Who is, yes.
Graduated from East Grand Rapids High School.
And with
one of my nephews, yeah. And so everybody in the area may recognize the name Heidel. His family still lives here. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about, if you can, Mr. Marmalade. And
Yes. It's interesting. I was reading a review that said you may read the title Mr. Marmalade and automatically jump to sweet and simmering with all this sweetness, and you get exactly the opposite. In Mr. Marmalade, we meet Lucy, who is a 4-year-old, and her imaginary friend, Mr. Marmalade, who is not so kind.
Most children have imaginary friends, but in this case,
yes.
What's her imaginary friend like?
Well, he is addicted to a few things, some drugs and maybe a little pornography. And Lucy gets very frustrated because, of course, he's her imaginary friend, but he never seems to have enough time. So it's interesting because we meet Lucy and her imagination, but to me it's where her imagination collides with her reality. So there are moments, I call them her lucid moments, where they're very real, and a few of them I found really tender. Very brief, but very tender moments. And it's just this, and we hear, it's her adult voice. So it's played by an older actress. It's not played by a 4 or 5-year-old, so thankfully, but, and it just speaks volumes. It's very, very kind of body humor, and the language is very strong. And I think the challenge for the actors is really not making it too in your face. It's to have fun with it, and not make. You also get to meet other, people that surround Lucy, another friend who's 5 years old, Larry. And the trick to those two is not to play them real, if I can say, like baby talky, if that makes sense.
Sounds like you are the right person to direct Mr. Marmalade. We move to March.
March with The
Little Dog Laughed.
By Douglas Carter Bean. I think this is the only repeat playwright.
What is Little Dog Laughed about?
It's about shallow, superficial, self-absorbed, cynical Hollywood people, and
we don't know any of those people.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting about it is that you find yourself just enjoying the way they deal with their life in this sort of. I think of it as neo-Victorian, because everything is about what does it look like, do what you want to do, but we got to make sure that the surface still plays to the mainstream. So you have this Hollywood agent who has this rising matinee idol client who has a male hustler boyfriend, and this male hustler boyfriend has a girlfriend who's also kind of a hustler, kind of a gold digger kind of person, and they all are connecting while the matinee idol is looking to play a part of a gay man in an upcoming movie. And I think Hollywood is it's an easy target for shallow and superficial, but it does distance you sufficiently so you can laugh at some of these the antics of some of these characters. And it's lovely how the whole thing comes together at the end, and we find a way to work within the system to get what everybody needs.
Right. Well, we have gone through these 4 plays, and then we return. This is probably the gentlest of the 5 shows that we are looking at. It's a Canadian play called The Drawer Boy by Michael Healy. It's this interesting story about these 2 farmers who are older than middle age. They're in their late 50s, could be early 60s. It really is, or even 70s. It really doesn't say. It's just that in a timeline, they were in World War II, I think it was, together. And now they live in a rural area of Canada, and they farm. They have an operation going on up there, just the two of them. So it's a pretty simple farm. And a young man comes to their door one day and says, "I'm an actor, and we're doing this play nearby, and it's about farming. So it's a collective play that they're creating, and I need information. So can I live with you for a period of time and do chores?" And they say, "Sure, you can do that." And he becomes very involved in the lives of these two men because there's something unusual about one of them. Unusual just in terms of behavior. And it leads to there is a secret. And it's a secret that brought these two older men together a long time ago and keeps them together. And the young man discovers that he also, in the process, damn near puts them out of business as far as their farm, because everything he touches, he ends up, I mean, he hits one of them with a tractor. He just, because he's an actor. So it's, we do have two shows that are dealing with actors.
That's right.
And it's really a sweet story about these two men and how they came together and formed this unit. So that's the. So if as the season has gone on, and if people say, "Boy, that was, boy, I'm really getting challenged." When we get to the drawer boy, you can just sit back. I don't think it's going to I think it's just going to please and amuse and warm. My mother used to say, "Warm the cockles of your heart." I think it's a sweet play to end the season with, The Drawer Boy by Michael Healy.
I got to agree, after having read it, I thought this is one of the most charming pieces.
Because the three men are real.
Yeah.
All the foibles and the idiosyncrasies that human beings can have. I mean, you start reading them and you think, I know, I've met these guys. Mm-hmm. You know, the one guy he will not waste a word. If he needs 3 words to tell you something, he will say 3 words and he'll stop. He doesn't want to waste his time elaborating. So, yeah, I think they're wonderful characters. So, we are off on an adventure of another season. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, cheers.
Hi, I'm Corin.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Nubia.
And we're your Spectrum Theater box office staff.
We hope you enjoy your show with us this evening and return often to Actors Theater.
The box office and theater staff is here to serve you and answer any questions you might have regarding season tickets, special discounts, student price tickets, and anything else that will help you enjoy your show with us this evening.
We are pleased to have Actors Theater as part of our Spectrum Theater family, and we invite you to come back often to visit the other theater groups that call Spectrum home: Jewish Theater Grand Rapids Community College Players, and the Heritage Theater Group.
Nowhere else in West Michigan can you see more great theater in a year than here at Spectrum Theater.
Enjoy the show!